Spoilers, I'm back. Hello everybody, welcome to Monday Morning Musings. It's great to vlog. I wanted to talk about a variety of all sorts of subjects. How crestfallen and heartbroken I was at the state of Cyberpunk 2077 being not ready. And also the sheer amount of joy I've never experienced in my entire life. So incredible with what happened at the end of The Mandalorian Season 2. I still am pondering upon it. And I saw Tenet twice. I still need to see it a few more times, but I am still trying to wrap my head around the entire temporal pincer, if you will. But today, I wanted to talk about the state of movie theaters. I know a lot of YouTubers and journalists and others have shared their opinion on what HBO Max announced. And at first, I was very excited because I thought, hey, I have a 65-inch OLED screen. I have a 5.1 digital surround sound system that I invested in as the crown jewel of my home, right? Media and entertainment is how I make money. It is my passion. It is my life force. It's my lifeblood. So I prefer to experience the best I can in my home theater for, a bartender's budget. The theatrical experience, yes, communal, yes, incredible, especially the digital technology and the presentations that I was able to see in Southern California, in particular, the TCL Chinese Theater. I got to see the midnight showings of The Last Jedi. That was actually the last midnight showing I went to at that theater, and how disappointed I was in that film. So the theatrical experience to me is moving, powerful, informative, and the communal element of it is missed, very much so, as we continue to stay indoors during the pandemic. But over the last number of years, attending different movies or theaters displaying different movies, I would have issues with people checking their phones. I would have issues with people that didn't respect the arts, that were there with their friends goofing off, making a lot of noise. Now, for some films, especially like horror films or really schlocky films like Cats, that's kind of part of the experience and I get it. But for other films, no. I'm very passionate about this. I am willing to go to jail. I will get in a fist fight or more with somebody if they refuse to not check their phone, if they continue to disrupt the experience for everybody else. If I am dating somebody and they're the love of my life, and we're in a theater and they check their phone during the movie, I will break up with them on the spot and they can find their own ride home. Okay? It's called respect. Artists, trained professionals, craftsmen have put together something that they hope you and others will enjoy, and they're asking for your undivided attention between 90 minutes to 3 hours. This isn't streaming. It's not like you're at home where you can have multiple screens open. No. This is the arts. And I'm reminded of another time that I got very heated with somebody when I was on Broadway. I went and saw the show Anastasia, and there was a couple next to me that kept checking their phones during the event. And I asked them twice, can you please stop opening your phone during the show? And afterwards we talked, and they were from Turkey, and they're like, oh, we've never heard that you're not supposed to check your phone during a show before. And I wanted to explode. I was very patient with them and I talked to them as being very cordial, but I wanted to strangle them. No, I wanted to strangle their parents. That's what I wanted to do, because there is no excuse for anybody to be that ignorant. But because we live in a world where there's many ignorant people, and it's better to have the default mode of everybody needs to be reminded about this, that's why you have to have ushers. You have to have ushers. And these megaplex theaters were so focused off profits that they didn't care about the experience for the customer. The last time I went to AMC here at South Center, which is one of the top 10 most popular theaters still during the pandemic, I'm not seeing any movies during this. I'm probably not going to walk into a theater until I have the vaccine. So maybe summer of next year. But attending that theater, I remember I was picking up some popcorn, and it was such chaos because you no longer would talk to somebody. You just did the order on a computer, and then you walked over to pick up your order, and everybody that was packaging the order was trying to scramble and figure out how the system works. Like they had changed the system without even consulting the people that were actually working in the trenches. And this is a problem with any sort of corporation where they make sweeping changes without even talking to the people who will be implementing those changes and realizing, wait a second, you may think this is easier on paper, but actually it's tougher for us. So with that type of mentality and attitude when it came to the staff at theaters, do you think they're going to be really enthusiastic to confront somebody who's checking their phone or making noise during a movie? No, not really. Not for the base pay of salary, which here in America, minimum wage is not enough to survive. So that type of expectation automatically creates an aura of when you go to the theater, because those that are working are not trained professionals to try to give you the best experience possible. They are there to try to capitalize the most amount of profit possible for being there. And it doesn't really work that way when it comes to quality, right? You put the quality first, people enjoy the experience, are willing to pay for the experience, which is why you saw more theater endeavors like Alamo Drafthouse and others which tried to up the experience, food, drinks, okay. Not really into the whole food, drinks being served during the movie. Okay, I'm not there to eat. I'll drink beforehand. I usually smoke a shit ton of weed every day, but usually before a movie. And then I'm in a state of mind to enjoy it. I don't need to be distracted with food and drinks and stuff. Some theaters prefer to do it that way. That's cool. I've gone to a number of those theaters with friends when I was in California, but if I could choose, my preference is no distractions whatsoever during the feature presentation. Now, when I heard that HBO Max was going to release all these films day and date, both in theaters and on the streaming service, I thought, here we go. This was the last paradigm shift to really get the ball moving for us to have same-day digital releases until the end of time, right? Well, the movie makers, in particular Christopher Nolan, Denis Villeneuve, James Gunn, not happy about this decision. Not happy because they were not consulted by AT&T, the overlords. The overlords for Warner Brothers, the overlords for Mortal Kombat, for WB Games. This entity purchased Warner Brothers and they're sitting in a lot of debt. So this pandemic has further escalated the need for them to generate funds, and they're not going to be generating funds from box office sales. Tenet, and applauding Christopher Nolan for trying, even though we all told him, hey, it's not going to work. I don't care how good this movie is, it's not worth risking my life. And after seeing the movie twice, it's a great film. People argue it's not Nolan's best. If you want to be comparative, sure, but standalone, this film really makes you think about time and engineering and the CIA operatives. There's a lot of things to think about. And it reminds me of Memento, where Christopher Nolan was able to present a film in such a way that made you think about not just the contents of the story, but how they were presented. And when you are able to showcase an event like that and you're surrounded by groups of people who you don't even know and you can share in this experience, yes, it is part of the human makeup of who we are to have those experiences, absolutely. But I can generate that communal experience in my den room with 10 to 15 people possibly. A little uncomfortable, really comfortable with about 5. But that's possible. The technology that we have seen change everything has changed everything in the last 10 to 15 years. And what I went to school for almost 10 years ago still applies because it's theatrical acting. It's the heart of putting on a good performance. So if you as a filmmaker want the audience to enjoy the best performance, I understand the big screen and the communal event, but the nature of theaters does not provide that anymore. So you, the filmmaker, should be angry, yes, at AT&T for making that decision, but there also needs to be a movement for AMC, Regal, and other cinemas to go, listen, close, you're done. The megaplex idea is over. It is so 80s and 90s. That doesn't need to exist anymore. The mid-tier to low-tier budget films will be released to streaming, and if there's some sort of campaign or a group event to showcase the film in a theater, that's totally possible. Why is it possible? Because it's the natural inclinations for humans to purchase things they actually like. I'll give you an example. Napoleon Dynamite was a film that I pirated back in my pirate days, and I watched it by myself on a laptop in college. And I was so intrigued and a bit flabbergasted as to why I was having a different experience seeing it on my own instead of with a group of people. So, on my own, I went to a theater and it was packed. Again, the movie had been out for 8 months, and this was Utah. So the Mormons were really supporting their own at the time when it came to Napoleon Dynamite. But the communal experience of people laughing and just the sheer craziness of the film would make people laugh spontaneously, or just people lose their minds. And that generated a way better experience watching Napoleon Dynamite than just watching it on my own. So in that respect, the filmmakers are absolutely correct. These experiences should be communal, shared on a giant screen with the best sound system possible. But in order for you to have that type of experience, you need to be super effing rich, which these filmmakers are, so their experience is separated from the general public, or we need better theaters. It's difficult because a lot of people have poured so much of their time and efforts to generating the best possible place they could at AMC, Regal, and other places. But the upper echelons of leadership did not store away the funds necessary to continue to pay their staff at the beginning of this campaign. But now all of us are hurting so bad, and our government has failed us miserably, that AMC is in danger of being completely out of money by January. So what would I like to see happen? I would like to see 80% of AMC theaters close. And AMC to reorganize and decide, okay, every megaplex theater that we have, we're going to sell off half the space for warehouse storage, honestly. And the other half will convert into bigger screens and have 3 or 4 major screens. Is it doable? Is it viable? Is it the best decision to make business-wise? I can't tell you that because I don't see the numbers for these theaters presently. But as both a producer, a performer, and a consumer, a customer of entertainment, if I'm going to watch something, I want it to be in the most pristine conditions possible for my money. And if that means I have to wait until it's released digitally or on disc for me to enjoy in 4K on my big screen and surround system, so be it. That was the experience I had with Tenet. I could have gone to the theater, I could have walked there in 40 minutes or driven there in 6 and saw Tenet for myself on the biggest screen possible in the state. But it's not worth risking my life for. So this is a tough situation for so many people involved, but ultimately this is the catalyst for the majority, I would say the majority of business minds in Hollywood who continues to, the business mind of Hollywood has continued to reject new media. And now new media has become the norm, the standard. So traditional media has to figure out how are we still going to be able to make money, make these big budget films, yet cater to a new era of the subscription-based model and people wanting their content and watching it whenever they want to watch it. I'm reminded of HBO, the president of HBO back in 2015, 2016. This is during Game of Thrones being pirated like crazy, where myself in college was like, hey, HBO, I will pay you money to be able to watch this show online. I'm not getting cable. Cable is so 90s. I'm not going to purchase HBO through cable because I'm not getting cable. Let me enjoy this directly. And I would say the same thing to TBS when I would try to tune into their esports or fighting game events. I'm not going to buy cable to tune in. I would prefer to purchase a straight package so I can either enjoy the channel or enjoy the program. But I'm not buying cable. Not going to do it. That head of HBO back in the day who said streaming is a fad was fired, and the new president came in and said people want to watch what they want to watch, when they want to watch it, however they want to watch it. I look forward to going to a movie theater and seeing a big screen event with friends, a communal outing, absolutely. But if one person checks their phone, and if I go to an usher, and I'll come to them directly, but I prefer to go to an usher first, just to use authority to tell the person with authority to tell that person, hey, knock it off or I'm going to kick you out. If that usher refuses to do anything, or if that theater refuses to enforce any sort of rules, then I'm never going ever again. Hell, I may even try to talk to a number of people that have some investment money. I fucking hate the investor class and I hate shareholders, but I would tell them, let's do a movie theater where you have to check in your phone, just like Dave Chappelle does at his comedy events. You have to check in your phone at the front desk and we'll get it back to you after the show. I would pay a little bit extra for an experience like that. Whew, well, all we can do right now is wait and see. Hopefully AMC or these movie theaters can have some help from the government, but also realize that it's a brave new world and they need to adapt and consider how they can have a better environment, how they can provide a better environment, an environment so good that people will not want to miss out. They would prefer to see movies in that format. But we'll see. Thanks for tuning in. I'll definitely share another blog next week, but a lot more content coming on the channel this week for sure. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you online.